Hey, Sarah.
Hi, Jimmy.
Welcome to Let's Talk About It.
I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. Me too. So let's jump right into it. I know some timing and everything. For scheduling. Everything is always overwhelming. So I'm happy that you were able to make it. So
Me
we'll
too.
jump right into the questions.
Great.
So who is Sarah Brown?
Oh man. Well, first you have to ask the question: who was Sara DeBrinich?
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Well, she was a performer.
Okay.
Prior to this, I always thought I would be on a Friends or some other sitcom, long running, A Will and Grace, if you have it.
Yes. One of my favorite shows.
Yes, absolutely. Now I'm here in the world of real estate.
Okay. And how have you seen real estate transform you?
Okay, through those eyes. Well, for me, it has helped me think of a purpose bigger than myself.
Okay.
I find real estate to be very fulfilling in the sense of, it can be like churn and burn, money grind, right?
Right.
I used to do high volume rentals when I first started in Brooklyn. That's kind of how I got my start. And I just felt like I needed more.
Okay.
And with that, I feel like I'm doing a service of helping people get into where they're going to start their family, raise their family, or just kind of like set themselves up for success in whatever big dream they have.
Right.
Because I'm coming from the background of, theater, performing arts.
Right.
And I feel like when your home was set up, because everything else is so up in the air, it really grounds you. And I feel like that is my purpose as a real estate agent, give to other people. And that's kind of what I lead with. So
I mean, it's cool, right? Because
Yeah.
you're talking about sitcoms like Friends and the things that you wanted to be part of.
Right.
And if one is looking at the, like Friends, Will and Grace and so on, those are all comical.
And iconic apartments, right?
Right. You're looking at, you're like,
lived.
okay, you're looking like a 800 square feet, right? And for some reason, personality wise, everybody's gelling at times. And when it's drama, it's still funny at the same time. Right? So,
well, high stakes, they're in a very tight knit place.
I'm like, whoa, how did that happen? And it's kind of cool. So I'm pretty sure when you see those personalities, you adapt really well, right?
Absolutely,
Because you know how to absorb some of that.
Sure.
And then, through your story and their lens, you combine the two, and next thing you know,
Yeah, honestly, I fell into real estate. So I was working a brand ambassador job at the Samsung store in New York City,
right.
With my other
Samsung.
fellow. Yeah, weird.
Oof.
It was random. It was pretty crazy.
Okay.
We saw some crazy stuff, but that's a different podcast. But anyway, so my friend was like, "Oh, I'm working this job doing rentals, doing real estate.
Okay.
You should come and do it because." There's only certain ways to sustain yourself when you're auditioning, leaving all the time for work, coming back, right? Gig to gig to gig. And he was like, this is a really great opportunity. You'd be so good at this. You connect with people. You're very responsible, professional. Like, you're going to kill it. Right. And I was like, I don't know, real estate, And I came to Brooklyn from Harlem. And I was like, I guess I'll move down here because it was a different thing in
Wait. You went from
Harlem. I lived in Harlem.
You lived in Harlem.
Yeah, but the market for this particular rental company was
Okay.
in Brooklyn.
All right.
And they did like churn and burn kind of thing. So, they kind of opened it up to all the agents. It was on the back of the platform. So it didn't have to be my relationship with the landlord.
Okay.
I basically, if I got clients, I could take them around to multiple listings within like our platform.
Okay.
So like a showing agent sort of, and then I quickly managed the office after that, but that's a different story.
Okay.
But it did me really well.
Right.
I loved, my husband's gonna kill me, but I loved dating. So back in the day, I loved it so much.
Right.
Some people didn't like those online platforms. I loved going to meet people, like just for the conversation.
Right.
And I was one of those people that would tell people like, hey, this is not going to work out in a romantic way, but I think you're really cool.
I think you need your own reality show for this one, right? Because you have so much going on.
I'm serious, but I loved, so it's like matchmaking too, because I really love people. And I think that's what acting is too. Right? Is to like know whose shoes you're stepping into and what parts of them relate to you.
That's absolutely correct.
Because,
going back to what you're saying, right? Off the cusp, you're supposed to know how that person is to react towards you because the chemistry, if it works, it works.
Of course.
And if it doesn't, you still know how to make it work, right? Because you've seen so many different personalities.
Adapting,
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. You need your own personality. You need your own reality show. So how is it working with, your unique situation, right? You're dual. You're in New York. You're with, Indigo, right? And then in New Jersey, you're with the Good Life group in New Jersey.
Yep.
So how do you hold those dual hats and how do you maneuver?
That's a great question. So I have an awesome team. I founded the Indigo team with a few of my colleagues that were at this rental company with me. We got poached over to Compass in the city. And it's been so good because it was more Brooklyn and Manhattan. Right. We were really based in Brooklyn. And the market that I'm in now at Coldwell Banker in South Orange, Maplewood on the Good Life Group, it's a running joke in Soma. I'm sure you've heard this before. It's like you ask where'd you move from and most people are like Brooklyn, They call it Brooklyn West. So the audience is really important. And I think that, as a content maker, as a performer, as a theater person, you really have to know your audience.
Right.
And so having a base and a background and colleagues still connected in that market really helps me transition people over to our New Jersey market. Because when I first moved over here, I didn't really know anything about Maplewood and South Orange.
Right.
And everyone always says, like, from New York, I'm not going to move to New Jersey. Are you kidding me? And then I did the same thing.
Us. Yeah.
But it's great.
You hit key points, right? Because like me, I'm from Brooklyn, right? And so when I'm thinking about Maplewood, South Orange, and even Montclair, those areas, like you would think that, hey, it's right there. What's the big deal? I don't want to, I'm moving very far away, but it really isn't that far.
It's not.
When you think about the commute time and the accessibility, and let's keep in mind the good food that some of these towns offer now.
I know. It's up and coming in that way. Like there's the city planners of these little towns, they made it similar to Brooklyn in that there's these beautiful downtown strips that are so cool, right?
Right.
Bars and restaurants with access to transportation.
Right.
It's that same lifestyle. I remember when I was just commuting into the city for work and I was like, no one told me about this sooner. I would have been here.
Likewise.
The trees, the architecture, the fact that I was just in Midtown in 35 minutes.
Yeah.
The coffee shops that are just this. It was mind-blowing why it took me so long.
I was like, it caught me a culture shock. I got it. I was like, wow, there are places that look different from Brooklyn and kind of sort of accessible to New York City.
Yep.
And you get more opinion, right?
Right.
More
opinion.
for your money.
Right.
I felt in the suburbs that we service in, and
But I think just people don't know.
Right.
So we're here to tell you.
Yeah. We are. Maplewood, South Orange, Short
Montclair,
Hills, Millburn, Montclair,
Milburn, get out
County,
here,
Bergen. Let's just go
look
all
around,
the way.
man.
Come to New Jersey, cross the Hudson.
Legit, I thought I would die in Brooklyn. I was like, no one's gonna take me from here kicking and screaming. And I mean, it did take me getting pregnant, surprisingly, the second time to get out here.
Okay.
But I'm glad that it happened. It was such a lucky happenstance.
Trust me, like you, it was like,
I know.
Really? You're gonna make this? I was like, yeah, man. I mean, like the city's right there. I mean, how could you not, right? So,
absolutely.
I guess we have similarities coming from the city into New Jersey, and now we love where we live, right?
Love it.
So I'll take it all day.
I love it.
All right. So, what are 3 top things you would tell first-time homebuyers?
Okay, so there's a few things, but obviously to get your team right, to make sure you have someone that you relate to as a real estate agent, that you communicate well with, that educates you on the process.
Right.
That lenders are very important. I think some people just kind of like throw a stone at these big, like Chase, TD, like these big banks.
Thank you for talking about that. I greatly appreciate it.
But it's also about, just like in real estate, it's so good to know where people are coming from. Perspective is everything, right?
Correct.
So people who are moving from those particular parts, in New York, those institutions are normal, pretty common. Things move at a different pace in New York. That was something I really had to adjust to as a real estate agent. Things are so hyper speed in New Jersey in terms of once the process takes off from list to close.
Right.
Because in New York City, you have co-op boards, even condo boards can be a little sluggish, a little bit.
And lawyers are more involved in New York City.
They are.
Yeah, lawyers are more involved in New York City.
They are, but I say that yes, they are for the due diligence.
The due diligence part of it, of the money's going back and forth and all that stuff, right?
Yes.
There's a compliance that they have to adhere to.
Yep, and the buildings
Right.
and all the history of the buildings,
Correct.
making sure all you know all of those details. But in New Jersey, it's different because we write contracts.
Right.
And attorneys are a little more involved in terms of like the contracts, right? Sending the letters back and forth. They do that in New York too, but it's a little different in terms of the steps of the process.
Right.
But I do have to say, perspective is everything. So, you know, in New York, that's all grand and good. But here, people don't underestimate how important it is to have the right lender from the very beginning, just because this market is so crazy competitive and it's hyper local too. So all of us agents kind of like know each other.
Right.
And it's really, that's also what I love about this. I love collaborating.
Right.
Competition, get out of here. Like, I love celebrating people.
Us lenders love you too.
Yes. And I mean, other agents, other companies, I've loved meeting everybody in this new market. They're all so lovely.
Right.
South Orange and Maplewood has some seller people, humans. Right. Anyways, that aside, the lender is really important because they may not know this. This is something that a lot of people do not know, but as a first-time home buyer, ask your agent. I put together a really beautiful cover letter that, you know, shows the strength of the lender and how quickly things get approved, appraisals come back. You know, if they want a quick close and they see a lender that is reputable in the area, that has good quick closings, you know, that 9 times out of 10, mostly 10 times out of 10, the appraisal comes, you know,
it happened to me this morning.
That it goes close. Yeah.
Right, it happened to me this morning. I'm dealing with one of the areas that we service. Real Talk calls me and says, "Hey, Jimmy, nice to see you again. I just want to go over the appraisal process." And this happened at 9:15 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And the listing agent and the buyer agent were all on the phone talking about it because we understand putting a product out there that someone's worked hard for, looking for what they deserve is right versus what the buyer is looking to buy deserve, what they want to pay for. They just want to make sure the process is running smoothly.
Yes.
And this is the only you can get with a direct lender like myself and someone like you who's very local in the area.
Yes, you've been with all the agents here. They all know you. So when they see your name come across their desk in an offer with 19 other offers, then they're at ease. And I want to tie this little moment back to like acting after a second. But so that's number one, I guess. Number two, what I would tell them is whatever phase of life you're in, know where your daily and your lifestyle is going to be in terms of the local professionals. Like, I have a client who's very pregnant and they're looking to move to the area, and something that they're just not thinking about because it's their first baby is start looking up those pediatricians in the area.
Oh, that's key. That's very important.
Absolutely, because as soon as you have the baby, you're going every month, every couple weeks, right at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? They are going to the doctor often, and some have wait lists. Another thing is daycares.
Yeah, that's we went through that.
You know, and I know, they can be like year-long lists. So get on them now.
Right, and it was funny, and we were talking about that too, and just based off cost too, right? Some daycares have different costs behind it, so you have to be able to understand how far you're going and how much you're willing to pay.
Yes,
you can't put a price on childcare, but you have to stay within your means, of course.
You do, because it's very expensive.
It is, right?
So then you have 2, and then it's like double the expensive.
And I was talking about it with my wife the other day. I was like, I can't imagine me paying childcare today.
It's insane.
I'm like, okay, it's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, we're over that stage.
Good for you.
Yeah. So that
I've got a 18-month-old and an almost 3-year-old in February.
So we're gonna change all that, right?
Yep.
Because we're gonna maximize our potential.
Exactly.
I love it. So let's jump right into. Okay. We talked about it earlier. We did see rates drop a little bit. Well, I'm going to say a little bit. Let me be careful, right?
Right.
It dropped enough that we're happy about it.
Absolutely.
As a community, we are happy what took place last week with the mortgage rates coming down. So what are your thoughts behind that? And what does that look like now?
So, you know, as when I'm on the sell side, that's wonderful. Right? Because then we just have multiple offers.
Correct.
The price just keeps going higher and higher, you know? On the buy side, when I'm representing clients, it's just kind of like a reality check.
Right.
it's awesome for the people. Like I had 2 deals just recently, except they're under contract. You know, they had been looking in the process.
Right.
And as soon as they dropped, that's when they could lock in their rate. So because they weren't deterred by the rates being a little bit higher prior and were already set up for success, out looking and putting in offers, it was like the perfect timing for their offers to be accepted. So do not let these rates deter you. Like set yourself up for success. Get your ducks in a row, because you never know when the rates will come down and then everyone's jumping in the pool, but you're already swimming.
Right. I've been making a case with my clients right now. I've been speaking to them and letting them know that, hey, you can always refinance your
Absolutely.
rate. The goal is to find that home that can make accommodating with the current salary that you make now, and that things will change, right? It works in cycles.
Yes.
Trust, the world's not coming to an end. We're never going to be 8, 9, 10, 12, 13%. No. It works in cycles. You will see the value once you get comfortable and the rates do change, which they have, right? Actually, I was looking at the other day, right? 7.5% you were paying on 10% on what was it? I had a $750 purchase price, 10% down. Your mortgage principal and interest was $4,719.
Right.
Now at 6.6 as of this morning, that same mortgage payment is $4,310. So that's just under $400, which is $36,000 in 5 years. That's a huge savings. So I'm pretty sure more are coming out there like, okay, this is a big deal and I need to save it. And for listing. For those who are looking to list a house, they want to feel comfortable that if I put my house on the market, that the rates are not going to be where they're so drastically high, I can't buy another home, right? Because sellers are buyers too. And
Absolutely.
That is, like, people don't sell just to move into
They don't want to sidestep.
They don't want to do that. Right.
People are not looking to sidestep.
That's
They're
correct.
looking to upgrade or downgrade.
Right. And so that's why it's so important with the rates doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
We're going to see a little bit more transactions take place, hopefully.
I'm hoping
Likewise,
so.
You and I both, right?
Like, inventory just has to catch up to that, and it will. It is.
It should, hopefully. So what do you think with technology now and real estate? How do you think?
Okay, so this actually ties back into the acting that I wanted to tie in.
Sure.
So I feel like technology now, and this is something about like even getting your home ready. It's really important to look at what's out there.
Right.
Even when you're an agent and you're marketing yourself, right? It's like, how do you get to the top of the pack because everyone's fighting for the same thing?
Correct.
Right? How do you stand out? And, you know, as actors, even in like self-tapes, right? Everyone's self-taping. It's like, how do you get the casting director watch past 30 seconds instead of going on to the next person?
Correct.
Right? You have to make sure you have all the best tools, right? So technology helps you succeed. And I feel like with technology and listening to those who are advising you as to how do you stand out with the rest, because I feel like what people don't realize is they think, oh, everybody just has technology. It's like, yes, technology is great, but if you do X, Y, and Z as well, you're going to set yourself up ahead of the pack, because at the end of the day, everyone's clicking on Zillow.
Correct.
Everybody is. It's like the Facebook
of
real estate,
right?
You know, I love that SNL sketch too. By the way, we
I've not seen.
Oh my god, it's so good, the Zillow one. Anyways, I don't want to go there. Anyway, okay. So what I'm saying is, you need to have the right clickbait. Right. So if your house looks as polished and as beautiful, decluttered, painted, lit, photos taken during the daylight, the front of the house cleared off because that's the first photo. If you do all of those things, chances are you're going to stand out as the other houses that are out there, right? You can't just say like, my house is good enough. It's like, is it good enough or is it the best?
You have to go through so many obstacles to get in front of everybody else. And to you, right, this is why as a professional, you need to understand technology
1,000%.
in order to move someone's price of a home so someone else can buy it and get their fair value for it, right?
Absolutely.
I think if one is not on top of technology,
I agree.
You're going to be left behind.
Absolutely.
It's the traditional way of just put it here, post it here, use my iPhone and call it a day.
No, you need the algorithms.
Right,
you need to know what
Right.
photo are they clicking on.
Exactly.
It could be the matter of there was a listing we didn't go see, and then when I did end up going, I was like, oh, this layout looks nothing like the first photo that they showed. I thought this was this.
Wow.
And I actually reached out to the agent saying, hey, that first photo is kind of deceiving. It looks like you're walking into the kitchen.
Right.
Some people don't want to walk into a kitchen. They want to
No.
walk into not a kitchen.
Especially that price point, I'm sure you're talking
exactly.
about.
So like change those photos around and do
Right.
yourself a favor. But
Correct.
like it's that keen of detail of understanding what people are seeing on a technology platform that makes a huge difference.
It absolutely does. I mean, I can make a case all day. There needs to be a course.
Absolutely.
For some to understand how these angles work and how to tell the story with ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
And your because technology is only as good as what you put into it, right?
For sure.
It's cut and paste all day, obviously, but if you're not making it somewhat attractive to your thought process and to what one is looking for, you're no part of the process. It's just blank. Here it is, right? You're not advancing anything.
No, and also if you try to reach everybody, that also gets lost, right? In translation. So it goes back to knowing your audience.
Right.
Who is it and get it to them.
That's absolutely correct. Thank you for sharing that. Lastly, Sarah, what do you think home buyers need to know about closing costs?
Well, especially first-time home buyers.
Right.
I feel like because they haven't gone through the process before, they need to really understand what percentage of the purchase price goes to closing costs so they can plan for it. Not only that, they need to think about, because the audience, again, it goes back to the audience.
Correct.
Where are they moving from? They're probably moving from an apartment.
Right.
And now they're going to furnish a home. So they need to set aside money to also buy furniture. Correct. Or they're going to live in an empty house. Unless, they have it from family and yada yada. But
that
chances are,
family.
chances are that adds up too.
Right.
So to really understand, and the upfront costs of your inspections.
Right.
To know that you have to factor that in.
There's an out-of-pocket cost that comes in the beginning.
Yes. So I think people, especially first-time home buyers, get all like when they put their sights on a house, it's interest rates and the down payment.
There are other factors
But
involved.
there are a lot of other factors that really make a difference. Not only that, something we didn't really think about too much was like, oh, we have grass. We gotta mow this. We gotta
There's a
weed
maintenance
this.
behind this thing?
What the heck? We gotta buy like
right.
a lawnmower, which we still don't have, by the way. We have a lawn service because, honestly, a lot of people do in the area. But that's another price.
That's
you
another
have to,
cost behind it. Right? You have to put that in. You have to put that as
or
part
a
of your
snowblower,
cost.
which we also don't have because our neighbor Jack does the whole block for everybody. He's the
best.
Oh
man, I need a
shout
Jack.
out to Jack.
I need a Jack in my neighborhood.
Yeah, he's the best. So those are things that you really don't think about until you're in that beautiful house that's completely empty, or you're going to sign at the end, and you're like, whoa, we did the down payment, but what's all of this? And you don't want to like get surprised by putting down that down payment and then being like, well, I guess we'll just sit on the ground. You know what I mean? So you want to really be happy about your house.
Happy and prepared.
That's
key, right?
Yep.
Being prepared because
the process moves so fast.
It does. Especially when emotions get involved.
Absolutely. You're like, great, offers in, highest is best due, you get to know, you won the bid, we got to attorney review, we got to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
All of a sudden, you're like, oh my gosh, we bought a house. This is crazy. We're here.
And it's key. This is why every time I'm talking to my clients, I'm like, look, before you use that credit card, we should set aside X amount of dollars.
For sure.
Because the last thing you want to start doing is start making mortgage payments and you're using credit cards.
Absolutely.
You should set aside. That's why I'm like, bump away a little bit from the down payment.
Yes.
Get used to what you're doing right now.
Yes.
Because circumstances do change.
Yes.
Once you see that, you can always apply more towards your principal.
For sure.
Just understand what's going on now so you don't have any hiccups as you go through some, emergencies do happen.
They do.
There is a liability behind home ownership.
Sure.
And you want to protect yourself. So it's key to just have enough cushion saved, manage what you're managing with how much you're making. And if you make more, that's great. Just apply more towards principal.
Absolutely.
Reduce the years of interest on your home. And that's very important. So
and that's great advice from a great lender. Looking
really
out for their best interest.
That's what it's all about, right?
It really is.
You just want to make sure.
Because you've done it before. You've done it 100 times with clients, right? And
as a lender, you still sometimes like, oh, really? Yes, it happens.
Yes, and you can see all these unforeseen things that someone, again, coming from a different perspective, who has never done it before, that you can say, hey, don't make this mistake. I mean, it goes back to even like, great, and now let's factor in daycare.
Yeah.
You know, it's just unexpected costs that are large expenses.
Yeah, because not everybody has extended family or family members that can help watch your kid.
My gosh.
Yeah. So what is your favorite restaurant, and what are the things that you like to do in the areas that you service?
Okay, my favorite restaurant. Well, I do love Artie's now. I mean, it's great.
Where's that located?
So that's in Maplewood, New Jersey.
Okay, yeah, shout them out.
They kind of, it used to be Arturo's, which was mainly on...
They changed the name.
Well, what happened was it was right in the downtown strip, and they went to the industrial section of like Maplewood, so it's very like Bushwicky. That's also why it's like on brand for me.
Okay, Bushwicky. For those who don't know, that is in Brooklyn.
Yes, it's like a warehouse. It's big and open.
Right.
But the bread stand was over in that section prior.
Oh, I see.
So it was like a bakery.
For logistics reasons, I guess it made sense.
They combined. It's the same owner. So they had this big space, so they just combined it all. So it's great. You can go in the morning and have like one type of day, or you can go for dinner in the evening, like at 5, and they have lunch too.
Okay.
So, but it's great.
Who doesn't love bread?
Seriously. No,
thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on. Let's talk about it.
Thank you, Jimmy, for having me.
Yep. I'm looking forward to the end product. There you go. Thank you.